Well, that was an interesting season. As you can see, we have all 18 of the LEGO Survivor All-Stars that competed this season. And now we will ask them questions about this season, about their previous seasons, about the game overall. The first question goes to our winner, Hunter. And that question is a little basic, but still. How does it feel winning the $1 million compared to last time? Jeff, it felt really good. I didn't expect to win. I honestly thought that the vote was going to be a lot more closer than a 7-3, but it was that, and I'm fairly shocked. So, Lucy, how does it feel knowing that last time you played, you got to the final 5, you did better here, but still came up short? You know something, Jeff? It stinks, but you gotta move on from it, because it's just a game. Alright, and now to the rest of you. Got some interesting questions for you guys. Starting off with a bit more of an earlier boot. Matt, you're a recent winner from last season. So how did it feel being the first winner to go? Well, Jeff, it didn't really feel too good, but I wasn't that surprised, given the fact that had I did make the merge, I would have dominated. And speaking of winners, Veronica, you followed straight after. Were you shocked or not? I was a little shocked that it was 2 winner eliminations in a row. Then again, not really, because, it was 4 in a row in the merge. But yeah. And it's fine, because at least someone here got karma. Hey. Speaking of which, Steven, what was going through your mind when Chris and Laura decided to vote you off? The thing is, I was more pissed that Jade didn't go home, rather than me actually going home myself. Because it made no sense. Stop being salty. It takes more than one person to vote you off, Steven. Calling me salty? You probably only voted Hunter because you got salty because Lucy voted you. Speaking of which, Chris, Dave, probably the biggest bromance out here. Are you two still good? Of course, Jeff. We're best buds. We're best friends. So, yeah, it's gone pretty well. Yeah, I would say so. Now let's go back up to the top. Kenny. Now, if you hadn't remember, Kenny was actually the first ever LEGO Survivor fan favorite. However, you got eliminated first. So how does it feel knowing that you're the first fan favorite and also the first boot? Jeff, it's somewhat disheartening because I didn't want to be the first to go, but in the end it had to be somebody. And at least I still have a fan favorite to still prove myself as a fan favorite. Now, let's talk about the people who have been tuning into the episodes. The people who I often see get commented about is these two, Michael and Lucy, and Isabella. So, let's talk about that. Let's start with Isabella. Manus Vilunas has been commenting a lot of very hateful things toward you. Would you say they're justified or not? It's fans. They can like whoever they want. And I just happen to not be a player that Manus likes. And that's his own opinion. Do you think you may remain as how you put it as the worst winner? I would say no, because I do think in the future there are going to be people who may not deserve to win, either A, because they were just wretched, or B, because they just won out of bitter jury. Speaking of which, do you think Hunter got the bitter jury treatment where they only voted for him to win out of bitterness? Personally, no. I think they just voted for him because he had a better sort of gameplay than Lucy, even though I personally don't think so. Now let's move on to another winner, Josh. Let's just say that, yeah, you are the first winner, and you have gotten farther than any other winner. So, are you surprised that you made it further than the rest of the winners? Totally, Jeff. I mean, I didn't think I would last into the final 5, and, well, I did. So that's pretty shocking to me. Let's go back to more earlier boots. Delaney, in your final words, you quoted that Hunter should watch out for himself. What did that exactly mean? Well, Jeff, I said that because, well, Hunter needed to look out for himself because he doesn't have as much power as he thought he did at that tribal council. Well, speak for yourself, Delaney. I won the game. Be quiet, Hunter. You only won because people were bitter. I was not bitter. Sure, whatever, Chris. As far as I'm concerned, the person sitting here who probably had the best exit out of anyone was Michael. I mean, he stayed cheery the whole time. So, Michael, how come you weren't, like, all angry with Lucy even though she voted you off? Because, Jeff, if I acted bitter, then it would have had a very bad shift on my overall attitude and personality. And I'm pretty sure that's the reason why Vlad really likes me. It's because I have a good attitude. Thomas, looking back at this season, do you think there's any flaws with it? Some say that the winner is usually the flaw, but personally I think that's stupid. Because you can't have fan favorites winning every single time. I think the problem with the season might have been some of the moves were a little bit predictable. So, yeah. There were some eliminations that were pretty unpredictable, but yeah, the predictability here was really not there. If you had to pick one person who was blindsided, who would you pick? I would personally say Dave, because we all thought that Isabella was going, but when she pulled out that idol and her vote and Lucy's vote sent home Dave, we were left pretty shocked. So, yeah. Well then, thank you, cast of LEGO Survivor Season 7. And thank you for sticking around to the end of LEGO Survivor Season 7 All-Stars. As for next season, it will be 16 players, and the twist of the season is gonna be really interesting. Before we say farewell to Season 7, I want to give a few shoutouts. 3 subscribers and 1 big inspiration. First up, Mantis Vilunas. I did reference him in the first episode, and it was honestly a bit of fan service there, but I mean, he's been such a great support for this channel. He's been a very positive user who's left me with so much of a roller coaster of comments that I can't keep up with them, but they're great. So there's Mantis Vilunas. Justin Zotz. He did comment on a few videos, but what really impressed me was his recreation of my LEGO Survivor characters and Nothing to See Here's LEGO Survivor characters, which look pretty good. They look very good. Maybe he'll do more in the future if people really want it. The final fan I'll be talking about is Vladivostoke. Vladivostoke? Is that how it's pronounced? I don't know. Also a really good user who has been dying to bring Michael back into the game. And, you know, we did that. We brought Michael back, and he did way better than last time. And he also makes really good LEGO Survivor videos, too. But now onto the big, inspiration that even started this channel. If you haven't been paying attention to LEGO Survivor, Nothing to See Here is, to me, the best one so far. I know it's a bit of an ego boost to say that, but can you blame me? He made such great LEGO Survivor videos. I mean, there's obviously the LEGO Survivor channel, but I don't really count that because it's just audio used from Australian Survivor. Even though the stop motion is great. But Nothing to See Here's LEGO Survivors are really good. He's using music now for his latest season, so that's really cool. I suggest checking him out because his commentary is very soothing, and he doesn't have as much of a loud voice as I do, so I would suggest checking him out if you don't want to hear loud commentary, so sorry about that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for sticking around till the end of the season. And yeah, thank you for subscribing, as well as checking out my LEGO Survivor series. Now, that doesn't mean it's ending, because we're still going to go on with the 8th season. And as I just said, 16 players. But that's all I'm going to say. So, stay tuned for LEGO Survivor Season 8.